spawning in the bottom left position. She went for the DT drop, but was shut down by a super aggressive build before she could actually get it going. It is QueenE. And spawning in the top right position as our green Terran player coming in for FX Open Europe. It is Strelok. You got to say, you know, a lot of things can, of course, play into these types of scenarios. QueenE must be definitely nervous. First or second time LAN competitor. Not too much competitive experience, and it's just one of those things that players build up as they continue to play. Does take quite a bit of guts to come out here into open tournaments and try to make a name for yourself. Try to do something. So, always excited to see new players coming into the scene. And QueenE's actually one of those players a little bit on the rise, improving a lot recently, especially with a good coach. But it looks like Strelok will be getting his barracks at 11 supply. Could go for a very fast gas follow-up for a quick Reaper, and that's what it looks like. It's going to be the 11 Brax, 11 gas. This is very similar. A lot of players have kind of opened up part of the swarm going for a barracks at 12 supply and then a gas at 12. Basically, he's cutting 1 SCV. But now we're getting about a 2 SCV cut to allow for a Reaper way before there's a possibility of being a stalker or anything out. Clarification, though, as I said in game number 1, of course, I do mean Navi, just the clan tag. I guess they haven't updated them for their European players yet to an extent, or Strelok just hasn't gotten around to it. But as I said, FX Open was acquired by Navi, so now we have barracks is done. Reaper is on the way, and well, this is one of those things that makes this fast Reaper so strong. QueenE playing a bit economically, putting a lot of chrono boost into the Nexus, but there's a Cybernetics core, and Reaper is on the way. It's only about 30 seconds to go, and this is going to be a bit difficult to hold off. The Cybernetics core is still 40 seconds off, and this is just one of those really hard builds to hold, to deal with, and she is going to need some very good control of her probes while she waits to get that Stalker out, so she doesn't take too much damage from this Reaper. It does look like, though, with the money banking up, Strelok will be following this with a command center, and there it is in the main base. And the barracks likely just going to build a reactor, which is on the way. Now the Cybernetics core will be wrapping up very shortly. The Reaper is making its way downtown. Pieces pass, and she's definitely going to want to get that Stalker going as fast as possible. And it looks like she does have a sentry coming out, though. It's going to be a bit easier for this this Reaper to juke around it. Seeing this, she could cancel the sentry and go for a Stalker. She's just going to chrono boost it out, though, try to get it at ranged support in here. The Zealot going to keep this Reaper dancing around. Will lose 1 probe so far. QueenE take a little bit of damage here. The sentry is out, though. We'll be able to, hopefully, to push this Reaper away, keeping it tucked into the mineral line. A Stalker at this point would not be a bad decision to help deal with this, but she does want to go for an expansion. She does not want to be forced to sit on one base here, producing the expensive units like the Stalkers, especially with this follow-up from Strelok, getting up a factory, taking a second gas geyser. A bunker at the natural is done, so he is getting ready to move into possible mid-game timing with Widow Mines, a very popular build. In terms of follow-ups for Reaper play against Protoss, is just going into the Reactor Marines, the Widow Mine, the Medevac, and going for a bit of just straight-up pressure. So I'll have to see how much he wants to do. He's using the Reaper to scout out and look for any possible proxy locations. There are none to speak of at the moment, but the natural expansion is on the way for QueenE, and another sentry about to come out. So playing this nice and defensively. You know, one of the weaknesses of the build that she went for in game number 1, going for the 2-base DT drop, very popular build a la MVP Tails, but it leaves you so vulnerable with the unit count. When you try to rush for tech as well as economy, you find yourself short on army, and the build that Strelok did was just so good versus that. This game could favor her a bit more, though. The robotics facility is going to be very, very useful in terms of dealing with the Widow Mines that are coming out. They're actually reactored onto this factory. The starport will complete soon, so we should see a medevac come out, possibly for a drop. And with the robo facility completing in about 10 seconds, though, QueenE will be looking very, very solid in terms of having her infrastructure set up to deal with this. She'll have a nice amount of tech, a good amount of probes ready to transfer over towards the natural, which is now done. And Strelok is now taking his natural as well. Although it does look like he is getting ready to push out some Hellions coming in for our Navi Terran player. just continuing to produce SCVs. A hallucinated Phoenix Scout from QueenE, though. We'll be able to see everything. She knows what is up. She knows, okay, you got some Widow Mines, you got some Hellions. Well, this game, I'm much better off than in game number 1. I've got an Observer coming out. Getting up additional gateways. She is nowhere near as limited in her production as she was in the first game of this series. Also consider the Mothership Core will have access to Photon Overcharge, and the Observer going to go cover that main base mineral line. Getting out an Immortal, which won't be bad versus the Hellions. A second Observer could help a little bit as well after this Immortal to help make sure that the Widow Mines, if they get split between the bases, don't cause too much trouble. An Armory follow-up. It looks like Strelok is going to go for a mech build. 2 more factories on the way. The Immortal will be more useful than she'll ever know. But now, heading into the main base is this Medevac. The Photon Overcharge is activated. The mines burrowing. Are they going to be able to get any good probe hits? This, oh, not actually too much damage caused here by these mines. Running into the natural at the same time, though. The Zealots trying to fight this off with the sentries. A good force field will protect the rest of these probes escaping. And QueenE trying to hold this off as best she can. Takes out the Medevac. The main base mineral line has been secured for now. The Immortal is out as well. The Hellions will try to run by and pick off one of these sentries. And so they shall, but... supply looking pretty even right now. Strelok did a nice bit of damage there to QueenE's setup, but she held off much better than the timing attack that we saw in game number 1. So double gas now in the main base, in a set natural for Strelok, adding on a 4th factory. So really amping up that mech production. A 4th factory before a 3rd base. So a lot of Hellbat production coming in now. Tanks as well. Look at the units tab. These Hellions, running in, going to be able to pick up a couple more probes. The sentry's heading down with the Immortal, going to force field one of these Hellions in. We'll be able to pick that off. No big deal, but 33 probes to 43 SCVs. Strelok is feeling pretty damn good right now. Double tank production as well as quad Hellbat production is going to give him a very meaty composition. QueenE really needs to spot what's going on here, though. The Hallucinated Phoenix will be able to run back in and see at least 2 of these factories, so that should give her an indication of the mech. Heading back down towards the right side, she will see the rest of them and that there are Hellbats coming in. Now, some of the best ways to deal with Hellbat tank is you're going to need Immortals for tanks, and you're going to need Colossi to deal with Hellbats. Hellbats just, they tank so well against Stalkers and Sentries. Blink Stalker play has been known to be good because, of course, you can kite the Hellbats, but we're going to have to see how she'll respond to this. She is producing additional Immortals. Not a bad decision at all. The Mothership Core can, of course, give the Nexus cannon to the Nexus, which will allow it to basically outrange the siege tanks. Saturation at the main base completed once again, and still no 3rd base for Strelok yet. So he is just looking like he wants to go for a 2-base mech push. We have 3 tanks, a good number of Hellbats heading over with some SCVs to repair. And the Hellions are here as well. QueenE, though, throwing down Twilight Council, is going to have a bit of trouble dealing with this. There's a lot of units here. With Photon Overcharge, though, if Strelok overextends, QueenE should be able to shut this down, at least for now. But here he comes, moving in with these Hellbats and tanks. Needs to activate that Photon Overcharge. Some force fields trying to pinch the Hellbats back, but they are getting some hits off. Needs to get the Immortals closer to these siege tanks. The Stalker's taking a lot of fire. Nexus Cannon is activated. We'll be able to help poke away at these units. The siege tanks are going to unsiege and try to run away. QueenE could have pushed forward a little bit there with those Immortals. A solid hold so far, though, with a 3rd Immortal coming out. She's going to have a very powerful composition versus the tanks, but now I'm going to go for a Hellbat drop into the main base. Will she be able to deal with this? There is a Photon Cannon here. Another Immortal is coming out. At the same time, hasn't run anything in the main base yet. But no, the Hellbat's taking out a lot of probes here. Oh, lined up pretty tightly there, and Strelok just killing so much economy. Siege tank poking forward again, and she's going to transfer some probes back up into her main base, realize that the natural is probably a little bit less safe, and the Nexus Cannon is still there, though, to hold these off, but now it's gone. QueenE, 25 energy away from another Photon Overcharge, is going to have a very rough time dealing with this now. Pushing in is Strelok. The Immortals can hit these tanks, but there's so many Hellbats. Templar are out. But morphing into Archon isn't going to be enough. There's just so much here for Strelok. Up 125 supply to 51. QueenE doing her best to hold on here. The Immortal trying to hit there, but there's the GG. Well played, and Strelok will take this match 2-0 over our Swedish Protoss player. So pretty good early defense by QueenE, trying to hang in there, but Strelok, you know, just kind of displaying that difference in skill level quite significantly. But always glad to see contenders coming up, such as QueenE, into these tournaments. We'll get into our next match as soon as we can, guys. Checking with the schedule, just trying to see our scheduled games for the most part have been taken care of. I don't know if we'll be jumping into QueenE's next game or if we have any group stage 2 matches lined up. So just bear with us. We'll get into the next game as soon as we can. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the cast. I am Nathanias, and you're watching the DreamHack Stockholm 2013.